Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I've got three very special guests. Lee McQueen, how are you?
Mate, I'm still shoveling coal in that crazy train, as you lot know from last word on Spurs. And I'm here, mate, and I'm buzzing because Harry Kane's got another goal and another assist. So happy days.
Happy days indeed. We've also got Antony Costa. Anthony, how's your week been?
It's been up and down, really. I've sort of missed Spurs, but I haven't missed the disappointment. So it's a bit strange. It's a bit strange. As Lee said, nice to see Harry Kane get on the score sheet, but my word, what a boring game. Wow.
Yeah. Well, 3 points, that's the main thing. David from the Irish Hotspur, welcome back to the channel. David, how are you?
No, look, the Premier League ended on a high with a win. And look, we ended up losing to Luxembourg last night. So I'm not too happy right now, Chris. You know, football-wise, it's going from bad to worse as the weeks go on. I'm just hoping Spurs can turn this round upside down when the Premier League returns.
Absolutely. So welcome to all of the viewers tonight. In today's video, I'll be asking Lee, Anthony and David their opinions on who they want to keep in the current Tottenham Hotspur squad and who they want to sell in the summer transfer window. Of course, we all know that there's going to be some sort of rebuild. How big or small it will be, who knows? We will wait and see. But Lee, let's start with you. Now, so much speculation, and there has been speculation for the last couple of years about Harry Kane possibly leaving Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Now, there's more speculation, particularly after Harry Kane's comments in the last 24 hours. Now, Harry Kane, would you keep him or would you sell him?
It's ridiculous. I'll definitely sell him. I think he's absolutely woeful. He's the worst forward. Of course, we're going to keep Harry Kane. Should be the simplest answer all day long. Yes, we keep Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane, I don't think he'll ask the club for a move. I think it's media speculation. I think it was a standard answer that you can give. I don't think he was really, I'll consider my Tottenham future, as some people are reporting. I don't think that's what he said, and I don't think that's what he meant. What he was talking about is, I'll look at it after the summers to see where we are, not leaving Tottenham or anything like that. So, look, the guy signed a 6-year contract in 2018. He runs until 2024. He's absolutely the best world. He's, in my opinion, best number 9, best number 10 even in the world. He ain't going anywhere, and if he is, it's going to take Man City or Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid or somebody like that. 4 or 5 power clubs to pay 150 million. He ain't going anywhere. And once we win this trophy that we keep talking about, Chris, and get in the top 4, it won't make no difference. He'll be loving it, mate. Champions League football again next year.
You've got no worries at all, though, Lee, about Harry Kane possibly thinking about leaving this summer.
Right, so if we've got worries, right? So Philip Coutinho, 3-4 years ago, left Liverpool, bless you, 140 million. Didn't really work out too well for him either, did it? To be fair, in terms of personally, but my word, did it work out well for Liverpool? Because they brought 2 fantastic players that were the missing parts of their puzzle, and then they went on to not only win the Champions League but also decimate the Premier League as well. So let's put that back to all the Spurs fans that are watching this right now. If we did sell Harry Kane, but it made it better for the team, then isn't that a good thing? So, but I still don't see it happening. Of course, if we sell him for 150 million and then pocket the money to cover the COVID costs, and then we go and buy Vinicius, then yeah, that might be a problem.
Anthony, let's come to you now. I know that I'm going to be speaking for all 4 of us. I've got no doubt at all that all 4 of us are going to be saying that we want to keep Harry Kane. But he scored 160 goals in 237 league appearances in the Premier League. Now, is there? There's so much media speculation, Anthony, about Harry Kane possibly going out the door. And, of course, he's not won any trophies at Spurs. Even Jermaine Defoe in the last 24 hours has turned around and said that Harry Kane needs to leave Spurs in order to win trophies. Are you worried about Harry Kane leaving this summer?
No, I'm like Lee. I can't see it happening. I think if we don't, well, it's that old Spurs thing, isn't it? If we don't win next year, I really do believe if we don't win anything next year, then he will go. Or he will look to go, because he's going to be knocking on nearly 30 years old. Do you know what I mean? So I'd feel more worried next year than I do this year for sure.
Anthony, Alex writes a question here on screen. Thanks very much, Alex. I'll take 150 million pounds for him. No worries. How do you feel about that? 150 million pounds, is that enough?
I think for Kane's value, for sure. I mean, if 150 million came in and we were, we can't sit there and go, oh, no, you can't leave. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than him running down his contract and leaving for free, which I don't think he'll do. But you know what I'm saying? You just never know. You sort of think there's no loyalty in football. But if 150 million come in for him, that'd be, wow, you know, the biggest transfer ever, or one of them. And I think Levy would be definitely thinking about that. But as we're talking tonight, I can't see it happening this next season. The season after, yeah.
David, let's come to you now. Alex's next point says, as long as we don't do what we did with the Gareth Bale money.
No, look, Chris, for me, look, there's some things in football money can't buy. And that's what Harry Kane brings to Tottenham. His goals, his leadership, his all-round love for the club. You know what I mean? His dedication to football. He lives the right way is a perfect example. Money can't buy that. And if you go to sell Kane, that's my biggest fear, is we're going to do what we've done with the Gareth Bale money. Probably even less so. They'll probably take half of that money to cover some costs from COVID. So, look, I really don't want to sell Kane. I cannot imagine Tottenham without Kane. And for me, if you are going to sell Kane, there's only one person you go all out for, and that's Haaland. And you don't sell Kane until you have that deal more or less wrapped up either.
Do you know what, though, David? Me as a Spurs fan, I do worry about the future of Harry Kane. I really do. Because if I was Harry Kane, I would seriously, and it pains me to say this, I would seriously think about those trophies, about, you know, winning medals and trophies in my career. You know, at the age he is now, how long more does he have in order to think, well, you know, are Tottenham going to invest money? Are we going to win the Premier League? Are we going to, you know, win trophies at Spurs? You know, even if we won that League Cup, as Lee was talking about this season, is it enough to keep Harry Kane for next year?
Look, I think the only thing that's going to keep Harry Kane here next year is keeping hold of Jose Mourinho. I think if we get rid of him in the summer, there's no way Kane and a few others are sticking around for another rebuild, or a new manager to come in with new philosophies, new ideas. So if that happens, I think it comes to a point where, you know, Kane and a few others, they're just going to sit there and say, look, probably 3-4 years left at the very, very top. You know what I mean? I'm not sticking around for another 4 or 5 year project when there's going to be no guarantees at the end of it. Look, I think with Harry Kane, he made that noise with Harry Redknapp before Mourinho came in. You know, basically saying if Tottenham progressing in the right way, he's willing to stay. Mourinho came in, said, stick with me, I'll make you one of the greatest in the world. And arguably he's done that. I'd say, you know, he's improved Harry Kane's game tenfold. What he's done is given Harry Kane a position where he can drop when he's a bit older, which is, you know, drop a bit deeper and start spraying balls around. So in effect, he's prolonged Harry Kane's career in a sense. So for me, look, I honestly do think it depends on keeping Jose Mourinho. I really do. I think if we can keep Jose and invest in him this summer, I think Kane will stick around, because although the disappointment of being knocked out by Zagreb and, you know, tailing off in the Premier League, with the current crop we have now, if there are that signs Mourinho can get that out of them, I think if you can rotate the squad and make it more of a Mourinho squad than what it is a Pochettino squad, which is in essence is what the majority of the squad is at the minute, I do think next season can be 10 times. I think it can be so much better. And I do think, you know, if I'm Harry Kane, there's more signs of me getting trophies sticking with Mourinho at Tottenham next year than there is an Nagelsmann or someone like that coming in and doing another 4 or 5 year project.
But he is going to leave. At the end of the day, he's going to leave or retire. So we got to look to, you know, we're always going to be here talking to you boys as Spurs fans. So I think they want to be a little bit more prepared if they were to sell Kane, which I can't see happening. But yeah, again, we don't want Vlad Kirikesh and Stambouli coming in. You know what I'm saying? So,
the thing is, though, Anthony, even on the TV tonight after the England game, they're all sat there talking about Harry Kane leaving to win trophies. You know, lots of former Tottenham players, former Tottenham managers, you know, former you know, players, you know, generally are talking about Harry Kane going out and winning those trophies. And surely at one point, Harry Kane might actually listen to one of these people. That's the big worry.
Listen, if he does, he does. What can we physically do? We can't go and grab, you know, get him by the ankles and say, please don't go. Do you know what I'm saying? And start singing that song. But
that's a good song. I was going to say, mate, that's a tune.
It's a banger. It's a banger, Lee. It's a banger. So
I just think, look,
go on, Lee.
Sorry, I was going to say, sorry, Anne. I just think with Harry Kane, think about it logically, right? Take the emotion out of it from a Spurs perspective, right? Somebody's got to come, and I've just plucked 150 million out of the air. It could be 200 million, right? It could be 180 million. Arguably, you know, behind maybe Lewandowski, not in my opinion, but, you know, people would argue that. David, you've already mentioned Haaland, who's somebody come. He's got 4 years or 3 years left on his contract, 3.5 years left on his contract, right? So he's in the club for that period of time. He's Tottenham through and through. He's got Jimmy Greaves' record that he wants to have a look at as well as other winning trophies. And like I think exactly Alan Shearer's record in the Premier League. There's probably 2 clubs in the Premier League could actually buy him. That would be Chelsea and Manchester City. Arguably, you could have a look at United, but you've got to look at why would he be leaving to go to a club that hasn't been even in the Champions League recently, let alone in the final. So I would say Manchester United's out of that. I'd say that Chelsea and Manchester City could potentially get him a Champions League medal, from that perspective. But we've also got to remember it was only 2 years ago that he got a medal in the Champions League final. It weren't the right one, but he got one with our football club. So, at the end of the day, and then you're looking at it logically there to go, right, he's on a long-term contract. Then you've got to look at the fact that Levy ain't going to let him want to go. You've also then got to look at the fact that he's Tottenham through and through. All of these things have got to come together. And I think, again, David makes a brilliant point here because all of us have been talking about Jose in, Jose out, and all of the social media followers, the way they are on there. But I actually agree. I said this a couple of weeks ago about having a plan, and this is our plan. Where are we going? What are we looking to do? He's not going to stick around again for another change and another messing around. And I think that's, and again, arguably, he has improved under Jose. He's got more assists than anyone else in the Premier League. He's a top goal scorer in the Premier League. Got another goal and another assist again tonight. And again, I think that Mourinho is working really well for him. So I just can't see, even if Kane come out today and went, I want to leave Tottenham, I still don't see him leaving in the summer. It's too early. Like, it's still loads of stuff that's going to have to happen in order for them stars to align.
Just a question for the panel. Chris, I'll actually give it to you because no one really asks you questions, and I know you like a question or two. So, look, if Pochettino came calling with PSG, do you think maybe that could tempt him to move there because they were Champions League finalists last year? They're looking decent this year. But as well, he's popping out kids left, right, and centre, so money will talk eventually as well.
I do actually, David. I do. I think if Pochettino come calling for Harry Kane, I would see him going there. Yeah, I see that Pochettino would deliver trophies at PSG, and I think that it would be a perfect fit actually. And it pains me to say that because of course all of us Tottenham fans, none of us want Harry Kane to leave. But it just worries me about, I bang on about trophies all the time. And it just worries me that when we don't keep winning trophies, then, someone like that, they're not going to want to get to the end of their career and not win anything. David, let's stick with you because Alex, who we know, has written you a question. Kane is not staying at Tottenham because of Jose Mourinho. He will leave because he wants to win the Premier League or the Champions League. And, I agree with that to a certain extent because, no footballer wants to finish their career without a single trophy, especially Harry Kane.
Yeah, but look, one thing with City, does Harry Kane really want to be playing in front of a half-empty stadium week in, week out? They can't fill the ground over there. Look, see, with City, if Pep doesn't win the Champions League this year or next year, he's gone. So, whoever comes in after that, there's no guarantee they're going to replicate what Pep has done at City. So, if it doesn't happen this year or this summer for Kane, I don't think it ever will happen, to be honest with you. But, like Lee was saying there, he does have the Jimmy Greaves record there to break. You know what I mean? And, I think Kane loves Tottenham a lot more than what people think. So I think, he does say, in some of his interviews recently, he has let out little hints, here and there. But at the end of the day, I do think he loves Tottenham more. And I think maybe dropping them little hints. Look, wouldn't be surprised if Jose Mourinho asked Harry Kane to do that so that, he can kind of force Levy's arm in the summer to give him a bit more money to try and revamp this squad. You know what I mean? Because, Harry Kane has a massive say, I do think, as well. Like, I would love to know, to be honest with you, if he was pulled in by Daniel Levy or sitting there or had a meeting and saying, look, I want to stay this summer, but we have to improve the squad and I want guarantees. It wouldn't surprise me if Kane's trying to force his arm because Gareth Bale has also made a bit of noise this international break.
Lee, let's come to you. Second player we're going to talk about, and that's Dele Alli. Of course, he has had very limited opportunities so far this season, only 9 Premier League appearances. But he has got 50 goals and 165 appearances in the Premier League for Spurs and 33 assists. He turns 25 in a couple of weeks' time.
Wow,
now, for
25. That's really old, isn't it?
keeping him or selling him?
I'm keeping him. Absolutely keeping him. You just read out his stats there. I mean, I think that under the right stewardship, and whether or not that's Jose Mourinho or not, maybe so far you can say it probably isn't. But the guy has, unless he's lost the plot completely, unless he's lost it. I mean, I'm looking at Jesse Lingard and I'm saying Dele Alli was probably at least 50% better than Jesse Lingard, both at their peak. You know, both of them players actually went into the World Cup semi-final only 3 years ago, and you know, both of them were were good players. But I would always put Dele in front of Jesse. Now, Jesse Lingard's gone through a real bad time at Manchester United and whatever, and social media and mental health and whatnot. But look at what he's been doing now at West Ham. Like, no one can deny he's been absolutely outstanding for them. So, you know, he's been given a new lease of life and off he trots. He's now back in the England squad and Dele's still nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it. So I think he's got a lot of work to do, Chris. And I think that this has been a really brilliant learning curve for him, in my opinion, for his career. When people go through tough times, it's how you get through them tough times is going to define you what the rest of your career is. I absolutely believe it. I've been through that in my own career in terms of the businesses that I've set up and and all the stuff from a business perspective. So I really believe that, and I think that he's only turning 25. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like he's been around for ages, and everybody thinks that, you know, he should be. He's not even in his peak. We're talking about Harry Kane, 27, 28 at his peak. It's his big mover for him. Dele's not even like 3 years off that, and we're writing the fella off already. So for me, keep Dele Alli.
Anthony, let's come to you. The way I see it, I think if Jose Mourinho stays, I don't think that Dele Alli really has a future at Tottenham. So I think that this is me personally. This is my opinion. I think if Daniel Levy is going to keep Jose Mourinho at the club next season, I think that we may have to sell Dele Alli to get some money in and get a player that Jose Mourinho actually wants to use. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I get what Lee's saying, and I know Lee's very, very positive, very passionate. That's fantastic. That's why I love him. But for me, Ali's had his chances. The last 18 months, he hasn't been great. Let's call it straight. His football hasn't been the best. I've tried to back him up, because we've seen the quality that he can produce. That's why it's frustrating. He's one of them frustrating players where you know he's got it, but he comes across so lazy on the pitch and and he's not a Grealish. He'll never be a Grealish. He'll never get the game by the scruff of its neck and do something. Yeah, all right. Everyone can argue, okay, the goal the other week, but that's against Wolfsberger. The Palace goal, fantastic when he first come on the scene. But you'd have to sell him. For me, he has to go or be sold, because I can't see a future at Spurs unless Mourinho's there. But then what do? Do we keep Ali and then get Nagelsmann in, and then he gives him a chance, and then he don't deliver, and then we're back to square one, and and you get in another manager, and we got to give Ali I can't be bothered waiting around anymore. I can't. I want us to kick on from now, like tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, he's been given a few chances. Yeah, okay, you can argue that Jose's not treated him right, whatever's gone on. But you have to look at his football. When he's been given the chance, he hasn't been brilliant. The old Ali that has produced some fantastic memories over the years.
Can you see it happening, though, Anthony? Can you see that Tottenham will sell him in the summer?
I think if Levy blocks a move, then I think that's the end of Jose. Then you sort of think to yourself, the players are bigger than the manager, and then we got a problem. Then we got a big problem.
I don't think a move will be blocked, though, just on that. I mean, if you're saying, so, if you're looking at it from a fan's perspective, what I would do, I'd keep him. But if you ask me what the club would do, then I think you make a really good point, a couple of good points there. I don't think the club will block Dele Alli from moving per se. And maybe it is, Wayne Bonner on a question said it'd sell Dele, similar to Ericsson, cash in now, bring quality replacement. That might be a good thing to do, right? We've got to look at the Coutinho scenario back in. He ain't worth 140 million, right? But if you can get some, we've got to get some money in the club, haven't we, guys and viewers? Yeah. We've got to get some money in the club. So maybe he is the make way.
David, let's come to you now. Lee is exactly right there. We need some money in the club, and a lot of us love Dele Alli. I don't really want to see Dele Alli leave, but if the club need money and we need a player on the pitch, giving us game in, game out. that Jose Mourinho can actually use, because Dele Alli has been very underused this season so far. What are your thoughts? Would you sell him or would you keep him?
With Dele, look, for me, I'd sell him. I would sell him. I did say at the start of the season that if he didn't have a good season this season, I would sell him. Look, it wasn't just under Mourinho when Ali's career kind of went bad. It was the last year under Pochettino as well. When Mourinho came in, I genuinely believe he actually tried to motivate him. He pinpointed Dele as a player he really wanted to work with, because he liked his aggression and that nasty side of the game he's had, which he's lost. And then I think where Mourinho's frustration comes in with Dele Alli is that when we do get the ball and we're up in them attacking areas, he doesn't want these flicks and tricks. I don't think he minds them when the timing is right to do it in tight spaces, stuff like that. But a lot of time when you see Mourinho getting frustrated with Ali, it's when he's had time to trap the ball. Turn, pick a pass, play someone through. Instead, he doesn't. He just flicks the ball. And I think that's where Mourinho's frustration comes in with him. But I do agree with you, Chris. I do think, if Ali stays, Mourinho will have to go. But, if Ali goes, Mourinho is staying. But, we can't come to a point where the likes of Ali, Winks, Sissoko, their voices are bigger than Harry Kane's, Hugo Laurice's and son. We cannot let this happen. In terms of money as well coming in, I do think selling naming rights to the stadium, which is why that guy was brought in from America to do. I think that'll have a big part to play in some transfer money as well. But in order to create it from just revenue from selling players, I definitely look at selling Dele Alli, and I think it's on the cards. I think the only reason why we held back January is because we couldn't get anybody else in.
Now, the fourth player that we're going to talk about is Eric Lamela. Now, in my opinion, I think that Eric Lamela has probably had his best month in a Tottenham shirt since he signed for us in 2013. However, I don't think that he has delivered over the years. I really don't. So for me, I would sell Eric Lamela. He's got 17 goals in 171 appearances for the club in the Premier League. He's just turned 29, 23 assists. His shooting accuracy is 35%. Lee, sell or keep Eric Lamela?
Sell. I mean, it's pretty obvious based on them stats. I mean, I watched the rerun of the Battle of the Bridge the other night. It was on Sky, and I watched it, and I watched him. He started that game actually. Dele wasn't playing. Didn't remember that, but he played, and he was just doing exactly the same as what he does today. And David, again, I'm going to give you credit because I think you made a brilliant point earlier. Jose's come in and actually taken over a Poch team. And when you look at all the players that we got, Laurice, Poch, Toby, Poch, Sanchez, Poch, Joe Rodon is a Jose signing. You've got to look at that. Reguilon is a Jose signing. Dyer, Poch, Aurier, Poch, Dele, Poch, Kane, Poch. This is Son, Poch, Lucas, Poch. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just, they're still Maurizio Pochettino's team. So therefore, you've got to start clearing some of that old, not old wood, but old guard. I'd say that. And I think Lamela hits that category. And a classic Lamela in one game. He does in world-class Rabona. Unbelievable. And then he gets sent off. I mean, it's absolute classic. He's got to go, mate, for me.
Antony, I don't even need to ask you this one, do I?
I mean, oh, mate. In a year's time, as Spurs fans, does he deserve it? Would you be happy that he got a testimonial? Right, exactly. Blank faces. This is what I'm saying. 8 years, 17 goals. Come on, man. That's two a season. It's not good enough. And I'm not having. Yeah, he runs around a lot and he squared up to Jack Wilshere 18 years ago. I'm interested.
Yeah, that's the reason, isn't it? That's actually the reason why we've got to get rid of him.
Yeah, and that's the reason as well, Lee. We can't be too sentimental. You're asking sell or keep, and that's the basis of this show tonight. We want Tottenham to be hopefully challenging next season or going for that top four, as we always keep banging on about. So you've got to be brutal tonight. Tonight is all about brutal. It's not personal, it's brutality, and that's where it's got to be. He's got to go. He's been there since 2013, and I'm not having. He's had 1 month of being good in the Spurs shirt. I've waited 8 years for this. And
Antony, I completely agree, but Jose Mourinho does seem to like Eric Lamela. Can you see him leaving this summer? Can you see the club doing that business?
I think so, I think he's adding up. I think we've seen the best, worst, and the okay Eric Lamela. So, yeah.
Dave, let's come to you. My heart says Dele and Lamela, but my head says that we haven't won anything with them. So sell. Brad Matthews, thank you very much for your question.
Yeah, look, with Dele, yeah, I've already answered that. I would sell him. With Lamela, look, I'm going to put this out there, right? Don't kill me, right? But first of all, I'll make this clear. I want him sold. I don't want him here. Look, over terms of how long he's been at the club, it's not been good enough. We should not be holding on to players. He should nowhere near be here 8 years. It should not happen, especially at a Premier League club. Should not happen. And I would like him sold. But if we're talking about Jose Mourinho and a rebuild, I think there's a lot more players. I think there's a good queue of players first to go ahead of him if it's a Jose Mourinho team and we're going down Jose Mourinho's route, because Jose Mourinho does like him. I'd argue Jose Mourinho has probably got more out of him than what Poch ever did. And on that bit, and as well, I do think it hinges on whether we take up Gareth Bale's second year. I really do. You know, I think that'll have a massive say.
We are coming on to the other players.
No, but look, that's what I'm saying. I do think the Lamela decision by the club and by Mourinho hangs on the Gareth Bale deal, and the fact that there's a lot of other players probably to go out the door first that are bad influences in the dressing room. And just in terms of what Lee was saying, look, I was saying it's a Pochettino's team, but it's also a lot of the worst players of the Pochettino team that he didn't want to use, and when he had to use them, failed him.
Well, the next player we're going to talk about, Lee, we'll come to you, was, of course, Pochettino's captain, and now he's still club captain, Hugo Laurice. 34 years old, 289 appearances in the Premier League, 102 clean sheets, 9 seasons at the club. Sadly, no trophies at the club. Errors leading to goals, 19 in the Premier League in those 289 appearances. What are your thoughts? Because, you know, for me personally, I would love to see him stay. I would like to keep him for another year.
Definitely for me, and I've just written down Alfie as well, Alfie Whiteman. So whether or not you keep Laurice and then you promote into a for people from the academy behind him, or you go out and buy another goalkeeper. The problem that we've got with goalkeepers. So firstly, I'll put it down there. Yes, I will keep Hugo Laurice. Them stats back up everything you've just said about it, and experience does count for a lot as well when you're trying to get into a over the line in a trophy, or into a battle to the top 4 or whatever it might be. The guy's a World Cup winning captain at the end of the day. So I think I would just caveat that by saying 9 years at the football club, and that Poch thing that David said about before. He is a core part of the Maurizio era. Yeah. So maybe there was something said for that, but what you've also got to look at is, one, where you're going to get another goalkeeper from that could produce them sorts of stats, for example, and how much is that individual going to cost you, and how much you're going to get for Laurice if you sell him to PSG, like, for example, when everyone's linking him to him. So that is a messy situation. I think that we need to promote within, maybe on the goal from the goalkeeping front, and drive Laurice again, and maybe another season, another 2 seasons, and then really bring somebody in from the youth or from the academy, which is Alfred Whiteman, right? So he should get a few more opportunities. I think the problem is that we've got Joe Hart, who was signed as a voice in the dressing room by Jose, and probably a good one on a freebie. But we haven't even seen him in the Premier League. He hasn't even made an appearance in the Premier League. And even in the latter stage of the Europa League, which wasn't that latter, was it, to be fair, he was still playing Hugo Laurice. So, I think under Jose Mourinho, I actually think Laurice has played some of his better football in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Antony, let's come to you. Lots of speculation about Hugo possibly rejoining Poch at PSG. Can you see that happening? Can you see him staying for another year?
I can see him leaving, but I think when you read out them stats, they're interesting. I mean, they are mad stats. I would like someone to come and challenge him for the number 1 spot. I do. I think, to be at the club nearly 10 years, he's a fantastic servant to the club, but he's getting older. He's getting a little bit more slow. His distribution's not been great this season. He's done all right, but it's not been brilliant. And Nick Pope would be good for us. I'd like Nick Pope. Or is it Donnarumma from AC Milan? I know he's coming into the final year. So someone like that. I mean, I can't see Laurice being number 1 for the next 2, 3, 4 years. But as a servant, you've got to applaud him.
How much does a Nick Pope and how much does a Nick Pope cost? Do you think? I think it's a good shout actually. Both of them are good shouts. But how much?
They're talking about £30 million, Lee.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and it pushes Whiteman down the track again, doesn't it? So from his development,
would Whiteman be your second choice? I mean, I can't see Joe Hart staying there next season. Maybe he could probably be a goalkeeping coach, but does that push Alfie Whiteman up? And is Alfie Whiteman the next best thing? I don't know. I've not seen much of him, so I can't judge. Sam Robertson as well, not bad keeper. So I think we need to look for keepers, but it's not a necessity as I'm talking to you today. So if he stayed, it wouldn't bother me. If we sold him, it wouldn't bother me either. It's really 50-50 with me.
Anthony, lastly on Hugo Laurice, do you think that if Hugo did stay for another season, do you think he would still be club captain, or do you think that Jose might give it to someone else like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to be captain. I can't have a goalkeeper being captain. I'm fed up of it because you don't really hear him talk. You know, he shouts a little bit, and but Højbjerg or obviously Harry Kane, definitely two players on the pitch need to be the captain for sure.
Yeah, David, Hugo Laurice, keep or sell?
For me, I'd keep him for another season anyway. I do think the intention was probably to let him go to PSG this summer after his service to the club. Let him win a French title and retire. But I think that was hinging on Gazziga going out on loan for the 6 months to get first team football. But he's not playing out there, of course. So I do think now we're going to have to keep him for another year at least, and then look and find his replacement, but do a good scout into the player that they want to bring in. So for me, I keep him on that basis.
David, let's stick with you. I'm going to now talk about Harry Winks. Now, Harry Winks, 25 years old, 104 appearances in the Premier League, 2 goals, 2 assists. He played, of course, in the Champions League final a couple of years ago. He's had 35 shots for Tottenham in the Premier League in his 104 appearances, 7 on target. And on average, he makes 44 passes per game. Keep or sell Harry Winks?
No, Harry stinks. I'd sell him. Look, I've never, ever been on the hype train for this guy. I just knew from the very first day looking at him, I just knew he was never going to make it at Tottenham. Look, he's been given opportunities, played under different managers, and he's still producing absolutely nothing. It's just not good enough for Harry Winks. Look, he's not strong enough. He doesn't make tackles. He's no good at interceptions. And my eyes don't lie to me. Every time he plays, we get overrun in midfield, and we just can't stop the flow coming through the midfield when he's in there. People talk about his ball retention. I don't think that's very good either, to be honest. Look, you can pay me to sit in there, pick up a ball and pass it at 5 yards sideways. I do the same job. And I do think a lot of the time he goes hiding. Look, he lives off the Madrid game. He lives off that goal in Europa League that, I'm convinced was a pass forward for Bale. And look, all round, for me, he's not good enough. He never was, and I want him gone. It's time for Harry Winks to go.
Lee, how are you feeling about Harry Winks?
Well, they're pretty damning from David, to be fair, and you can't really argue that either. He's one of our own. He's living the dream, like what most of us want to do. And he's had 4 or 5 seasons in the first team now. 2 goals. It's not good enough. I think the problem with Harry Winks, he wears number 8 on his back, but he's not a number 8. I don't think anybody knows, even himself actually, in the coaching staff, where his best position is. Is he a holding midfielder? Is he a box-to-box midfielder? Is it, you look at a Mason Mount, for example, he's definitely not that. You look at a Pierre-Emile or Højbjerg, he's definitely not that either. He's got some really good experience in the games that David just talked about. Obviously started the Champions League final alongside Moussa Sissoko. I mean, both of them two in the Champions League final. Can you imagine if we had Højbjerg, for example, in that final? So look, I think that from a sentimental perspective, love the fella for doing what he's done. He's living our dream as a young academy player coming through the ranks. And you've got to think of homegrown. I know that's not what people want to hear, but you've got to think of homegrown. But when you got Skippy, Anthony, when you got Skip out on loan, who's been doing some good stuff, albeit I understand it's in the Championship, but Norwich are, top of the league and running away with it. And he's doing some really good stuff in there. And he is a genuine holding midfield player alongside Pierre. That seems to me like a ready-made placement. You've already heard Jose saying, I fancy Skip. He could be potential captain of this football club, and he's only 19, I think the writing was on the wall back then. So, although it's nothing personal, as Ant said, because I do like the fact that he's living the dream for Tottenham, I think it's time to move him on.
Just on the
yes, go on, David.
Just on the homegrown tag, you know, he's lived off at that for Tottenham for 5-6 years now. You know, he can't live off that anymore. Dane Scarlett will be in the first team next year. Troy Parrott will be back off loan. Depending on the Vinicius, you know, you don't know whether we're going to re-sign Vinicius. So there's another homegrown. Dennis Serkin will probably be in the fold. Dennis Serkin, he was the very first player that Mourinho pulled out of that underage team and put him on the bench when he first came in. He has high hopes for him. He's been unlucky with, you know, a debt in his family and injury problems this season. He's been unlucky. So the homegrown is not going to be an issue come this summer for me. So on that terms as well, he has to go because it's definitely not going to be a reason to keep him. And as well, look, this is a guy that, you know, when he walked into Mourinho, he says, you know, boss, can I play because I want to make the Euros in the summer? Now, if I'm a manager, I'm sitting there, I'm like, get out of my dressing room, knock back on the door, then come back in and say, boss, can I play because I want to play for this club? I love this club. This guy is supposed to be a Tottenham fan, Tottenham true and true. And all he cares about is getting a deodorant advert for the Euros in the summer with England, rather than concentrating, getting onto England, getting into the Tottenham team and playing well week in, week out for the badge and the club that he supposedly supports.
I think that's a bit harsh, David.
I think that's a journalist asking him a question about, do you think it's harsh that you're not playing? Do you want to get in the Euros? And he's gone, well, yeah, I want to play in the Euros. And then bang, that's what's happened. But I think he definitely supports a football club. That's absolutely for certain.
Yeah, his commitment and willingness to win and supporting the club, I don't think that you can question that. Antony, you know, Harry Winks, I know you're not Harry Winks' biggest fan. Jose Mourinho doesn't seem to fancy Harry Winks, and I'd be surprised if Harry Winks don't move on in the summer. What are your thoughts?
I mean, listen, there's not much I can say more about him. You know, we all laugh about it because they know that he's, you know, sometimes he's my Achilles heel because I've never seen any great games from him. I've never seen him get the game and control that midfield. We get overrun. He's made too many mistakes that lead to goals. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And as I said before, sentimentality have to take out of it now. He needs to go. And, you know, you're wearing my number 8 shirt, man, that I loved since I was a kid. And it's killing me. It's killing me, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm not having he played 25 minutes against Real Madrid. I'm not having it. We need to stop all this. Seriously, it's winding me up. Like, I've seen people on Twitter going, yeah, but he really had a really good game at Real Madrid. I won a Brit Award in 2002. Don't make me the best singer in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? So
easy. I think it does, fella. I won Apprentice in 2008. You know what I mean? I'm still dining out on that.
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't keep going on about.
That's true. I do agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, listen. Go to Southampton, go to a Villa, go to one of them sort of teams. I think you'd suit it. Give us James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, that would be a great signing. Yeah,
Homegrown.
Antony, let's stay with you. Now, Gareth Bale, of course, arrived at Hotspur Way in the summer. We were all very, very excited. It took him a while to get going. Now, only 12 appearances in the Premier League for Spurs this season, scoring 5 goals. What are your thoughts on Gareth Bale? Whether, you know, forget what we know at the moment. If you, as a fan, could keep him at the club for next season, would you? Or would you send him back? Has he done enough to earn another season at Spurs?
I think he needs the fans in that stadium. That is my gut feeling. He needs us back in that stadium, singing, chanting his name, getting up off our seats when he's got the ball. He can just do something and he can win us a game. We've seen it over the years, back in the day. So he's still got it. You don't become a bad player overnight. So I would, gut feeling, I'd say just keep him, because I just think him, Son and Kane can build a really good relationship. There's something there. It just needs to click. That jigsaw needs to click.
David, let's come to you. Same question, because Antony says keep him there. Me personally, I would let him go. I don't think he's done enough this season to warrant being at Spurs next year. What are your thoughts?
Do you know what? This is the one I've been torn on the most, Chris, because We put all that effort in to get him up to game speed, you know, get him to start producing in numbers with goals and assists and stuff like that. You know, why would we put that effort in and pay him all that wages to use Tottenham as basically a training camp for the Euros? Why wouldn't we, when we have him up to that standard, you know, take it on for another year? But at the same time, I don't like what he said over the international break. And for me, it seems like, you know, it was kind of a one-year plan to get himself for his big Wales blowout in the Euros. I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm dubious on this one. I'm going to say keep him on the basis that we've already paid his wages for a whole year, put all that time and effort in to get him up to game speed and get him back to near his best. On that basis, I would keep him.
Lee, let's come to you on Gareth Bale. Do you think a lot of the fans are just being very sentimental because, of course, his first spell? If he hadn't have had his first spell, you know, if we had a player in, you know, who has delivered, you know, so little this season, you know, not really? Called Gareth Bale, would we want him to stay next year?
He delivered little. So Gareth Bale's goal return per match or per appearance in the Premier League is only 3% less than him and Son, who's your favourite player, by the way. And like David said, you know, you invest all this money and all this time and effort in getting them up to speed and so on and so forth. Look, whatever, international breaks, you know, international break. Kane said something, but we all want to keep him. But he's just said the same thing as what Bale said, virtually. You know, it's just coming back to media. I think 100% you keep Gareth Bale. Like, you're getting back into the swing of things. You got like 8-9 games left. He scored 5 goals in 12 appearances, right? It's 41% record. Conversion record, like one every other game. That's brilliant. And if he starts every game from now until the end of the season, he'll probably pop up and score a winner in the cup final. Happy days. And this guy is utter world class.
It's a big hit.
Come on, mate. Let's be honest about it, right? He is world class. You look at the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and you look at the squad, and you look at when we get into the defenders. We haven't talked about defenders yet. We'll run out of time. But we've got a world-class player on Gareth Bale, genuine world-class. World-class genuine in Kane, world-class genuine in Son. Why would you get rid of Gareth Bale? You just got to get him on the pitch. That's a Mourinho and Bale thing, nothing else. But for me, from a fan perspective, 100% you keep Gareth Bale and sign him up again for next year. I think that he is not, his script hasn't been written yet for this season, in my opinion. Not yet.
Lee, let's stay with you. Same question on Carlos Vinicius. Would you pay the money to Benfica to keep Carlos Vinicius? Has he done enough?
Just remind me, Chris, the money is what, 38 million, is it?
Something like that. And I tell you what, he's only scored 1 Premier League goal in 8 Premier League appearances. Now, that worries me as a Spurs fan. Why has Jose Mourinho only played him in 8 Premier League games this season?
Well, Harry Kane, that's the obvious answer. But what I would say in terms of the amount of playing time that he's had outside of the Premier League, his goal-scoring record also is actually pretty good. You know, I think he scored 11 or 12 goals across all of the appearances he's had outside the Premier League. He's also got a couple of good assists in there as well, 3 or 4 assists in the Europa League. But there's only one player for me to bring in the summer from a striker perspective. That's Danny Ings. And I said it last season. I say it again. And again, that ticks another homegrown box if you want to throw the homegrown at me. But if Danny Ings is in the last year of his contract, you can get him for 40 million. You can, because he's in the last year of his contract. So Danny Ings at 40 million, or even if it's 50 versus Carlos Vinicius, for me, there's no comparison for me. By the way, I quite like Vinny. I think he's done all right. If he had better appearances in the Premier League, if he had more appearances in the Premier League, I think he'd be all right. But doesn't really hold the ball up too well. His touch isn't brilliant. You know, he starts to go offside quite a lot. So there's a lot of things to learn. But again, giving the guy some credit. I mean, he scored, you know, in total appearances. I think he's had total of appearances of what? 18 appearances. He scored like 11 or 12 goals.
Yeah, I think 21 appearances, and he's got 14 goals.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's got a better return than Heung-min Son in terms of goal ratio.
It's the quality of the teams that the goals have come against, though. Like, anytime I've seen him against the better players, I genuinely don't think he's good enough for Tottenham in that regard. Like, you know, the game against Wickham, he was completely anonymous. Like, even the goal against Villa, You know, it did kind of cover up his performance a little bit because it was a tap-in at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I just don't think his all-round game is good enough. Is good enough for Tottenham.
40 passes in 8 Premier League games. Average, 5 passes per match, 7 shots, 4 on target. Anthony, would you like Tottenham to sign Carlos Vinicius on a permanent deal?
No, I mean, I'm reading some of the comments. A lot of people are saying backup striker. We don't want a backup striker. I want a second striker. Every other team has got a second bloody striker. Why is it Spurs can't have a second striker? Because they're scared to upset Kane or anyone. Listen, Kane gets an injury every year. We know that, and but I love Kane to death. But he needs competition now to challenge for that number 9, 10 spot. He can be a number 9. To let someone else have a bit of take the weight off someone else's shoulder. You know what I mean? If a Danny Ings comes, he knows the Premier League. He'll hit the ground running. Vinicius, unfortunately, yeah, he's been all right. Hasn't really set the world alight. And just, would I miss him? No. Do you know what I'm saying? But, if you get him for a really cheap price, then just keep him. But I wouldn't, like I'm saying, Dane is good enough to step up. Really? I mean, he's had 1.5 games. Like, don't pressure this kid. Just what I'm saying. Let the boy.
Troy Parrott as well. He's like, 18 as well. Do you know what I mean? Troy, yeah. He's coming on as sub for 3 minutes in the Ireland game. You're losing against Luxembourg. You're looking for a goal. David, you're not being funny, right? You're looking for a goal. You've got this fellow on the bench and he comes on for 3 minutes. Like, what's all that about? So, he's not really getting the game. Didn't work out at Millwall for him, did it? His low moves now gone to Ipswich.
With Troy, I do think it's a question of his lifestyle off the pitch. I don't think he's as dedicated to football as he should be. But he's in this situation where he's too good for the under-23s and underage football, but he doesn't quite have the dedication or the wantingness to learn the game right now to be in a first team. So it's a hard one with him. Look, with Ireland, it'd be a perfect opportunity. Look, the opportunity's there for him to grab that striker jersey. It's there for him. He had he played a game, I think it was against New Zealand. He had 2 chances. A more composed striker probably would have put them away. But it's a learning curve for him, and for me, it's all down to him. I have read things and all. I do think it's a question more of his lifestyle off the pitch hindering his game. Then
I don't know the geez. I've seen him 10 minutes against Norwich City in the FA Cup. I ain't going to sit here and go, he's going to be the next, Dimitar Berbatov. Do you see what I'm saying? But Dane Scarlett, yeah, he's got something about him, but he's literally played, all in all about 10 minutes worth of football. So you've got to embed him in a little bit and be careful. And if he's had a bad game, we can't get on his back. And that's what us Spurs fans do, me included, because you want the best for your club. So get someone that's got experience to play alongside Kane, to play behind Kane, in front of Kane, that knows the Premier League. I've just reading some of the comments. Gabriel Jesus, amazing. I would love that. But he wouldn't come to Spurs, obviously, because he's winning things at City. But, Iniacho from Leicester, good player. Knows where the goal is, knows the Premier League. So there's loads of options, but it's just whether Spurs are, gutsy enough to go and do that.
Anthony, when you say experience, what do you make of Troy Deeney? Because he came out, he done a podcast there not so long ago and said he was supposed to join Tottenham. Only that Tottenham ended up taking Carlos Vinicius instead.
Troy Deeney, now he's a tough one, but he's a physical player, isn't he? But again, he knows I keep kind of banging on about knows the Premier League, but he's not a bad. He wouldn't have been a bad option to bring on last 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Give us something different. Is Carlos Vinicius the answer? If the ball comes up and you've got 70 minutes and Jose makes a sub of 70, Carlos Vinicius for Harry Kane, are you sitting there going, sweet, we're going to get a couple of chances? You're not, are you?
That's why for me, coming back to Danny Ings, Danny Ings is a perfect, right? You're talking about getting rid of Harry Kane, or not getting rid of Harry Kane's going, do you know what, I'm going to leave. Danny Ings is a perfect replacement. He is a proper number 9. He can drop as well. He scores goals. He's Premier League proven. He's played for a top club in Liverpool, and that didn't work out for him too well up there because of injuries. But he ticks all the boxes. Premier League proven as well, and he's homegrown. I mean, you literally couldn't make that up. So I just think that for us, when we get onto kind of, probably a subsequent show, Chris, if you put one and say, right, who are we going to sign? We have to go back to some of the Premier League proven players that have got Premier League proven experience, so they don't need to come in and take a year or 18 months to settle in. We ain't got that time. Or you go and sign people that are going to just walk into the team and be brilliant, like Bruno Fernandes, as for example, at Manchester United.
I'm with you, Lee. I'm with you. I'm fed up of waiting. I'm fed up of, you got to give him time, and he's got to play over Christmas, and we've got 8 games in 3 days. It's just like, mate, you're professionals. I've had enough of the players coming over, Soldados of this world, and Vincent Janssens, and you give them, but they were banging in 38 goals, a season. They came over here, couldn't hit a barn door. Proof is in the pudding. So the Premier League is a completely different league. This, and it's been proven over the years. The players that we brought over, very few and far between, make it really from our club. I'm not saying other clubs, I don't know, but from our club, people that we've signed over the years from different countries, I can't name me 5 or 10. I'll be very difficult.
Lee, we've had many conversations about Danny Ings anyway, and completely agree with you on, he would be great in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. And going back to Carlos Vinicius, the only thing that worries me about Carlos Vinicius is when Harry Kane was out injured, Jose Mourinho didn't put him in the starting lineup. So for me, I don't think that Spurs should do that business, because I don't think that he's going to get the game time that he's going to be worth the money.
Exactly. And, you talk about, crackers on the last one on Spurs, and he talks about me being a doppelganger for Fernando Llorente, although I think I'm better looking, to be fair. But, the reality is that he was the same, and it was under Poch. It was under a different manager with a different player. But Kane gets injured, and they put a false 9 on. They don't even put Llorente starting. So this is a club issue. This is a problem with the club. Like Ant said, we go back. We had Darren Bent, Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe, Dimitar Berbatov at the club at one point. What 4 core strikers that were scoring. I think that season when all 4 of them were at the football club, I think we scored. I think all 3 without Darren Bent in there, the other 3 scored 20 league goals or 20 goals each. 60. This is proper. We've got 1 striker at the football club, and then there's some youngsters that we've talked about. It's been a massive problem. Don't go out and buy a backup. Go out and buy a proper striker and give Kane something to think about.
Yeah.
Now, Lee, the next
4 years as well.
Lee, next player we're going to move on to is Eric Dyer. Keep or sell Eric Dyer. 27 years old, 195 Premier League appearances, 10 goals, 8 assists, tackle success 72%, errors leading to goal 6, and he has blocked 35 shots. Keep or sell?
6 errors. Blimey. Look, I'll be honest with Eric Dyer. I think that I would have been probably saying give him another chance. I think this is his other chance, and I don't think he's taken it at all. I think he's been untrustworthy as a defense, not as a human being, as a player in the Tottenham as a centre back. I think it's difficult because we let a genuinely left-footed world-class centre-back who's come to the end of his career in terms of Jan Vertonghen leave, and then we've got centre-backs at the football club that are all right-footed. We ain't got 1 left-footed centre-back. That, in my opinion, shouldn't happen, and it is. So when Eric Dyer comes into the game and he's playing as a right-footed centre-back on the left side, he's trying to ping these balls forward and they don't go anywhere. He gives the ball away a lot that I can see. He should be a beast in the air, shouldn't he? He should be strong and powerful, and it doesn't seem to be either. He loses his man. For me, he's got to go. For me, this under Mourinho should have been his moment, and he hasn't. In my opinion, he hasn't taken it. So for me, it's sell.
Antony, let's come to you now. Of course, we know that Jose Mourinho at other clubs wanted to sign Eric Dyer. Big fan of Eric Dyer. Do you think he's still a big fan of Eric Dyer?
I think he is. I just think if Mourinho was that much of a big fan, he would have kept playing him and playing in the last sort of 2, 3, 4 weeks. And we all know he hasn't been in the side. He hasn't sometimes been in the squad. He hasn't started. So I think the writing's on the wall for Dyer. I think he needs to go off now and maybe go to another club, obviously, sell him and fulfill, just be a player in an all right squad. I think he's always going to be that 6.5 out of 10 player. I've never seen him win. I've never seen him really win headers in the ball in the box. He's just frustrated. He gets caught flat-footed all the time. He blames everyone else when sometimes, as you said, a goal's led to an error from himself. Again, it's not. Yeah, I've read that Dyer has gone backwards. He hasn't progressed. He hasn't really gone on and become that figure at the back that you can rely on. So go and get me Vestergaard.
It's
all
funny,
day long.
Anthony, if you're looking at Anthony, if you're looking at the comments, as soon as I mentioned Eric Dyer, the comments just flooded in of the word "sell."
How many times? He's been there 7 years, 2014 or whatever. So, can you sit here and go, "Oh, he was," you know, when was it? Name me 5 games he had a blinder in. I can't. Do you know what I mean? He'll always be a bit part player. So, yeah, you know, sell.
David, let's come to you. One of your own, Matt Doherty, of course, we signed in the summer from Wolves. 15 appearances in the Premier League for us, 7 appearances in the Europa League, 1 in the League Cup, 2 in the FA Cup. 29 years old. He's played around half the games so far this season in all competitions. Has he done enough to stay at Spurs? Do you think he's good enough to be a Jose Mourinho and Tottenham player?
No, he needs to go. He needs to go. Look, just because he's Irish, I'm not going to sit here and play the tribalism card and keep him. At the end of the day, he's not good enough. Look, I've seen him do the same thing for Tottenham and the same thing for Ireland. The ball comes out to him and he passes it straight back inside, putting everyone back in under trouble where it came from, rather than taking responsibility, trying to make a drive and run on the outside. Look, the guy's just not good enough, even against Arsenal. Look, he should have had more help from Gareth Bale. But as a defender, where do you switch up and say, I'm not going to keep falling for the same thing every time? He jumps out, chases the ball, they pass it inside, in behind him every single time. He's not good enough. He's not good enough going forward. You know, look, the first game of the season, he looked positive against everything. He was getting in the box. He should have scored. He was putting in some good crosses, but he's just deteriorated since then. He can't replicate at international level either. And look, you know, the fact that Wolves were willing to get rid of him, the fact that when Mick McCarthy was Ireland manager and the pressure was on for him to play Doherty ahead of Coleman, he still didn't do it. All these managers can't be wrong. For me, get him out. I don't want him here. I do not want him representing Ireland at Tottenham Hotspur. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for us people, and we don't need him. I want to sell him.
Lee, do you want to give your thoughts on Matt Doherty?
Yep, sell. It's unfortunate for him that it hasn't worked out, but I echo a lot of what David's saying. He's not good enough. He has not been good enough in a Tottenham shirt. And we talk about Premier League experience and proven. I mean, I banged the Ricardo Pereira drum so hard last year. I thought the board might start listening to me. They obviously didn't. They listened to me on Højbjerg, though, to be fair, but not on Pereira. And Doherty come out of the blue, and I was like, mate, actually, this is pretty good. You know, he's a good, solid right back or right wing back. Been playing really well. He's Premier League. It's been awful, absolutely awful. And this has been part of the problem that is a Jose signing or a Levy signing, whatever, you know, it's under the Jose piece. Yeah, he's already been gone. You know, you've got then Aurier as well there. You've got Serge and you've got Doherty who just aren't good enough. They're just not good enough as right backs to stay in this Tottenham side. And to be fair, they need to move on.
With the Doherty deal, we were actually suckered into it because Wolves changed from a back 5 from the season before to a back 4 this season. So you already seen it coming and sold him knowing he can't play a right back. Now, we bought him in to play a right back when we play back across the floor. Why aren't they sitting there asking questions why Wolves are selling them? When like it just doesn't make sense. We were suckered into the deal and we fell for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Anthony, let's come to you. Now, Lee mentioned Serge Aurier there. Serge Aurier has played 14 Premier League games this season, 2 goals, 72 appearances in the Premier League for Spurs in his career so far, 5 goals, 10 assists, and we've only kept 15 clean sheets in those 72 matches when he's played. Block shots 11, errors leading to goals 1, but he does create chances. He's created 16 big chances for Spurs. Serge Aurier, what are your thoughts on him? Keep or sell?
Tough one. If you'd have asked me this last year, I'd say absolutely sell. But I'm 50-50 on this because you've seen a little bit of an improvement. I'm not saying he's the finished product. I'm not saying he's the real deal. What I'm saying is I probably would sell him, but who's coming in? I would love Ricardo Pereira, Max Aarons from Norwich. I think he's got a good quality about him. I think I'd like to go in for Max Aarons because again, it's that homegrown thing, as Lee was saying, and I think him and Doherty, excuse me, both need to go. Not good enough. Not good enough because he has got an assist in him. He has got a bit of something about him, but he's a live wire. So, do you need that in a dressing room? I don't know.
I think that's a massive point actually on Aurier with the whole live wire thing. You know, he was one of my original contract rebels that I labelled 6 of them. Chris, you'll remember contract rebels on the Love Sport show, and he was still one of them, and he's still there. You know, you still got Danny Rose in the football club. I mean, what is happening at the board level here? Get rid of Rose, Lamela, Dyer, Aurier, Sissoko, Winks, Vinicius, Doherty. I mean, they've got to go. I mean, you probably keep Toby Alderweireld because he's probably our best defender still, but he's still under the Poch era, if you like. But I can't believe that Serge Aurier actually has probably played, in my opinion, his best football under Jose Mourinho. He's probably played his best football under Jose Mourinho, but he's not interested. It's like Ben White Kotu back in the day when he just comes out and goes, "I hate football. I don't even want to do it. It's just a job." That's what it comes across like with Serge. It's like he ain't bothered. Like he doesn't want to play for Tottenham, right? Who wants this badge? Who wants to play for us and really give it 110%? Because I can't see that with some of these players and some of these people we've been talking about tonight, lads. Can you? And Serge, unfortunately, is one of them for me. He's one of them. Does he go out and die for a shirt? He don't. But
Serge Aurier,
he good stuff this year.
Serge Aurier, he's just even him by person, he's just unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And look, it's not a good. You don't need players like him in a dressing room where you're looking to go on and win trophies and rebuild. You just don't need a character like him around. But look, the thing is, he has improved, and we can't sell the two of them in the summer. So I'd rather sell Doherty and keep Aurier.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
would you get Max? Sorry, Dave. Would you get Max Aarons in if it meant Skip would be back on loan to Norwich in the Premier League?
Oh, great shout!
To be honest with you, look, I actually think we missed the boat to get Max Aarons. I think if we were going to do it last summer, was the boat to do it. Look, you've seen links with Bayern Munich now and everything else. I think it's going to cost too much, and I think the minute we go in for him, someone else is, and it's going to drive up the price.
Yeah.
Do you know what though, Anthony? It's amazing that we're doing this keep or sell video about our own players, but yet amongst all 4 of us, we've mentioned Max Aarons, Ward-Prowse, and Danny Ings. You know, about bringing those in. You know, those 3 alone, how much money? You know, how many millions would those 3 cost? You know, proven, as you said, proven Premier League experience, which is absolutely vital.
You sell the players that we're talking about. You sell 5 or 6. Well, I don't know if you're going to sell 5 or 6, but in an ideal world, you'll sell 5 or 6, bring in 3 or 4 good quality players. Anderson from Fulham, Vestergaard from Southampton, and Max Aarons. I'm not saying he's the finished product, but under Mourinho, he could flourish.
You look at our 16-17 season, 15-16-17 season, when we had Carl Walker on the right, Danny Rose on the left, full on. These fullbacks. I mean, Rick from Last Word, he talks about us all the time. And they're right. We've never had the situation of them flying fullbacks since. We haven't done it. And Carl Walker was my favourite player at Tottenham. Like, I don't know why. It's probably because I used to play right back as well. I loved him. And actually, he wasn't perfect player, whatever, but I loved him. And going down the right and Danny down the left, and and Eric Dyer even or Wanyama dropping into that to make 3 centre backs when them 2 bomb on. That's completely different now. And it's not even a Jose thing. I think if Jose had them 2 fullbacks in their prime, we'd be playing differently. I just think that Jose's been dealt a difficult hand as well. I'm not a Jose lover, and I'm not loving some of the style of football that he plays. But when you talk about all of these players, I mean, to Sissoko yet? Do you know what I mean?
Lee,
it's like
I'm gonna stick with you, Lee, because I know that you've got to go in a couple of minutes' time. So
sorry, guys.
I'm going to come back to Antony and then David once you've gone. You've mentioned Ricky Sacks and fullbacks there. Let's talk about Ben Davies very quickly. 28 next month.
6 out of 10.
Big chances created. 21. Has never ever made a mistake for an error of a goal in the Premier League. Ben Davies for you, keep or sell?
Well, that's why he's 6 out of 10 in Ricky's eyes, or 7 out of 10, like solid Ben. Like, he rarely does make mistakes, like you've just said. Again, another Poch signing, and actually, when Danny went through them troubles, a few years ago, and Ben stepped up, and he was quite good. He was decent. The problem with Ben Davies is he doesn't get forward enough, and that's what we want to see in our fullbacks. He is a genuine left footer. He's a versatile player. For me, he's almost like an understudy James Milner. I can't say like the same as James Milner, because James Milner's won Premier Leagues, right? But and Ben Davies hasn't. But he's like that. Do you get what I mean? He's just there, isn't he? He's just like, he's just there. Would I sell him? I'd probably keep Ben Davies, to be honest. I'll probably keep him there. But what I would say is, you've got Sirkin, who David mentioned earlier. You've got Reggie, who's already there, who's been, in my opinion, very good. And you've also got Sessegnon to come back into the side on loan as well. So, yeah, actually, maybe I'm changing my mind. I'm on the fence with Ben Davies, I think.
Lee, very quickly, give me just a quick word of keep or sell. Moussa Sissoko.
Definitely sell.
Toby Alderweireld.
Keep.
Davinson Sanchez.
I think if we got a decent offer for him, if we can get our money back on him, I'd sell him. That if we can get our money back on him, because the reason, I know. Sorry, you said to me quick, but the reason for this, right, is that we need to go and get an absolute worldie centre back in this football club. We have to go and get a Ledley King, a Gary Mabbott, somebody who's going to be utterly brilliant. A Rio Ferdinand, a Vidic, whoever. But we've got to go and find that person, and we've got to bring him in the side. And whether or not that's a Tanganga and a Joe Rodon together and they become amazing, I don't know. But we need to get someone brilliant in. I would be scared to let Toby and Dyer go and, everyone go from that back four, because it's brand new. But if Sanchez, the thing is, right, the problem with our back four, just quickly, right, the problem with our back four isn't necessarily just the individual players, right? It's the fact that we don't play the back four every week. How many, off the top of my head, I reckon he's played, 14 games in the Premier League? How many has he played? Do you know off the top of your head? What's he played? 14 games, 15 games? I reckon Joe Rodon's played, 2? I reckon, Toby's probably played the same, about 16, is it? We played 29 games in the Premier League. What defender out of that back line has played 29 games? None of them.
Yeah.
I'm right, aren't I? This has been a problem under Poch as well. It's because I don't trust the defence. When you had a solid back four with Laurice in goal, guaranteed every week, you'd have Danny Rose, you'd have Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld, and Carl Walker. Every week, factual. Bang, there you go. We haven't had that since. When Poch started revolving around the bloody fullbacks and bringing Trippier in and Davies in and bedding them in or whatever, that's when we just continually just changed. I don't think we've had a back four that's solid for 25, 30 games on the trot for years. Since I'd say 16, 17 season. So I can't prove that. So I'm on the fence with Sanchez on the basis that if we got a good offer, if somebody come in and said 40 million euros, 40,000, that'd be a good offer. 40 million euros, I'd sell him.
Well, we only average 1 clean sheet every 4 Premier League games with Davinson Sanchez in our team league. Steven Bergwijn.
I'd keep Steven Bergwijn. I'd keep him. I think he's got potential. He's lost his way. I mean, he's played, 17 games this year, and he scored. He's gone for a real difficult moment. I think he would be the sort of person that would be banging on the door saying, can I leave? Rather than anywhere else. But he's not on my list to sell, to be fair, so I'd keep him.
Lee, I won't even ask you about Heung-min Son, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and Tanguy Ndombele. I know your answer for those. Lucas Moura and Giovanni Lo Celso. Those are the last 2 for you.
Okay, so I said Sissoko, didn't I, for sale? The last 2, this is an interesting one. Lucas Moura, 24 appearances in the Premier League, 3 goals this season. When you look at his career in the Premier League, his record is woeful. In the same way that people are dining out on Winks having 25 minutes for Real Madrid, and rightly so, I'm still dining out on winning The Apprentice, right? He's dining out on a hat-trick in the semi-final of the Champions League. And a hat-trick against Huddersfield. On of late, he's had some really good performances. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, is he good enough for a top? Would another top 4 side sign Lucas Moura? And the answer is no. They would not. He would not rock up at any of the other top 6. He wouldn't get in their side. So that's a difficult one for me. Gio, I'd definitely keep. You know, yes, he might be injury prone or whatever, but you ain't seen him yet. So he could be absolutely phenomenal. Once he's fit, he could be amazing. We don't really know. We've seen flashes of him being good. So I'd keep Gio. And he's not. Lucas Moura is not on my list to sell. So I'd also keep him, but with the caveat of what I've just said.
Lee, last one before you go. Jose Mourinho.
I agree with David. I do. I genuinely do. I think that this club has lost its identity. This club needs to have a plan. And if this club has decided that the plan is Jose Mourinho, then we need to stick with the Jose Mourinho plan. If you look through that squad of all the people that we'd probably pick against Newcastle with a fully fit squad, right, you'd probably pick the people that we've been saying. Toby is a Poch. Sanchez is a Poch. Aurier is Poch. Yeah, Højbjerg is Jose, Tanguy, even Tanguy Ndombele is Poch. He signed him. Son Poch, Dele Poch, Kane Poch, Bale Poch. They're all Poch signings. Jose needs to have another big transfer window. The club need to back him in the transfer window. They need to sell Rose, Lamela, Dyer, Aurier, Davis, Sissoko, Winks, Vinny and Doherty. And they need to get them out and they need to bring some other quality players in. A world-class centre-back, definitely. Bring some of these people back on loan and give some of the youth a chance and go with a plan over the next 3 to 4 years to say, we're going to win the Premier League and come out and say it. We are going to win the Premier League in 3 years' time. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We're keeping our best players like Kane, like Son. We're re-signing Bale and we're going to go and win the big trophy. That's what we're going to do. And we've got the best man, one of the best men, to do it. So for me, Jose stays for the good of the football club a longer period of time. And just quickly, stop parking the damn bus and go out on the front foot. Because if we do that, we start destroying teams even more than what we have done 6-1 against Manchester United, when we scored 3, when we beat Man City, when we scored 7 against Maccabi Haifa, when we scored 5 against Southampton. I think a lot of people forget that we have got that in our locker. So let's get back to them sorts of things. And he stays for at least another season. But mark my words, Jose Mourinho will not be at our football club for longer than another 18 months. Just won't happen. He's an interim manager and it was always the way. He does not stay after 3.
Yeah. Lee, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. Thank you for all of your input. I know you've got to go, so thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having me off, Chris. Good to see you, Dave. Good to see you, Anthony. Thanks, everybody, as well. Thanks for listening to my rants. Good luck.
Cheers.
See you, man. It's a pleasure.
Anthony, let's come to you. Now, Steven Bergwijn, 31 appearances for Spurs in a Tottenham shirt, 3 goals and only 3 assists. 4 big chances missed, 7 shots on target in 31 games. For you, Steven Bergwijn, keep or sell? What have you made of his time at Spurs?
Not great, to be honest with you. Not seen much. Well, I have seen much of him, but he's a confidence. His confidence is shot. It's gone. He could have beaten, ifs and buts. We could have beaten Liverpool if he had his shooting boots on, but obviously we didn't. I just think he's had a lot of opportunities, but I think Jose likes him because of the whole tracking back thing. So I can't see him being sold.
What about you, David? What do you think of Steven Bergwijn?
Look, being honest, I don't think he's. Look, there's a player in there. I do think he's more of a confidence player that when he's, no matter if he's happy in life, he's going to be good on the pitch. If he's not happy in life, he's going to be poor on the pitch. I don't think he has the mentality long term to last at Tottenham. But if we're talking in terms of this summer, I'd keep him for another year, maybe see if he could get something out of him.
It won't upset me if he leaves, and it won't upset me if he stays.
Yeah.
It's one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, Anthony. Yeah, completely. Now, Anthony, let's stay with you. Heung-min Son. Now, lots of media speculation about Heung-min Son going out the door, same as Harry Kane. We all know what Heung-min Son can do. He's won Goal of the Month twice. He's won Player of the Month 3 times. He won Goal of the Season, of course, last year. 188 Premier League appearances for Spurs, 66 goals, 38 assists. The records that Heung-min Son just keeps breaking are incredible. Brilliant. Surely we want to be keeping him.
Of course, yeah, we'll keep him. That's a silly question, Chris.
David?
Yeah, I want to keep Son, but look, it's a question of will we?
Exactly.
Look, he's under a lot of pressure out in Korea. All the noise out in Korea at the minute is they want him out of there. They want him out of there. They see him as better than Park Ji-sung, and they want him to be winning trophies, representing their country, and they want him gone. So he's under a lot of pressure. His out lad lives with him as well, so you don't know what he's saying. Look, ultimately, he's going to do what's best for his son. And if I was him, I'd probably be telling Son to leave, to be honest with you, probably. But I want to keep him. I love him. The Korean King, I want to keep him.
See, Anthony, you say it's a silly question about Heung-min Son, but when we saw that documentary of his dad, how strict he is, and like David rightly said there, everyone in South Korea wants Heung-min Son to leave Spurs because they want him to being successful. And even when we spoke about Hugo Laurice earlier, signed in 2012, and dare I say it, and dare I go on about trophies yet again. But when you don't win trophies in all that time,
listen, Son will always be a club cult hero, legend, right? Okay, if you say about Spurs' best team in the last 10 years, he's definitely in there, right? But he's not a Spurs fan. Do you see what I'm saying? So he has to look for himself, and rightly so. If he wants to go, let him go. What are we going to do? He ain't going to listen to us three talking. He's going to look for his career. He's going to look for going on to better his career and go and win trophies, and wherever he goes, good luck to him. I don't know where he's going to go, though. I don't, maybe a Barca, maybe a Bayern Munich type, PSG, probably not. So them sort of teams might come in for him, and if the money's right, you'd be silly not to sell him. But I can't see him leaving. I really can't.
So for me, sorry, David. Anthony, are you 100% confident then that you believe that Harry Kane and Heung-min Son will be lining up in the starting 11 at the start of next season?
I'd like to think so, Chris. Do you know what I mean? I said I'm not part of the training facilities. I don't know the team at all. I don't know them personally, so I don't speak to anyone in them. In the players. So if he goes, he goes. But I can't see him going. Yeah.
Sorry, David. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no. For me, look, it's very important that Tottenham do keep him, because we talk about Tottenham needing money. The financial aspect that he brings in terms of revenue in club shop, when fans are back in the stadium and stuff like that, is absolutely astronomical. And can we afford to kind of lose that Asian market? Right now, we really can't. So we do have to keep him. We have to do everything in our power to try and keep him.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't want to be seeing Heung-min Son going out the door. But again, the whole trophy thing really worries me. If we don't win that League Cup, or we don't finish in the top four, then these players, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, could look elsewhere. David, let's stick with you. Lucas Moura. Now, often gets the fans divided on opinion on Lucas Moura. He's 28 years old, 97 appearances in the Premier League for Spurs, 17 goals, 8 assists. Of course, got that wonderful hat-trick against Ajax. He will always live off that moment. Defensively, does very well as well. 31 block shots, 60 clearances. Big chances missed in games, 18, which is quite a lot. What are your thoughts on Lucas Moura? Keep or sell?
Do you know what? So you asked us before so as a fan, keep or sell, and then as a club. So as a fan, I would sell him, to be honest. I think he's one of the most frustrating players I've ever seen. He has all the ability to be top class if his decision making was switched on. But as a fan, look, I would like to sell him. But as a club, I think we're going to keep him. I do think him playing down the middle, it's completely open new doors for him. He's a lot freer, and he's played a lot better. And in terms of being able to strengthen in other positions, on that basis, I'm keeping him this summer.
I'd like to keep him. What about you, Anthony?
Why would you keep him?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I think Lucas Moura is a very good squad player, and again, when I said that about Eric Lamela, about his best month in a Spurs shirt, I actually think that this last month has been Lucas Moura's best month in a Spurs shirt.
It's taken him 3.5 years, but yeah, we got there in the end, didn't we? I don't know. Yeah, he's a good squad player. That's it. we get better players this season.
But you need these squad players.
Yeah,
because
exactly. Listen, by the rate we're going, it'd only be Laurice, Kane and Højbjerg and Son left. And then Dembele. So, yeah, I mean, listen, he's neither here or there for me. Moura, yeah, if he stays, cool, but you're a squad player.
Anthony, realistically, with the players that we've spoken about, with Lee as well and David, realistically, who do you actually see go out the door? It's all well and good, like you say. We're sitting here saying, oh, we'll keep him, we'd sell him. But realistically, who do you think that Jose Mourinho really doesn't want in his squad and Daniel Levy can go and sell?
I think Ali, Winks, Sissoko, Lamela on 50-50 about, because I know Mourinho likes him. Mourinho likes Davis as well because he played the other week with an injury, and he's like, that's what my players should be doing. Yeah, I think he made that sort of quote along those lines. Doherty needs to go, and that's about it. I think 5 or 6 players. Yeah, definitely.
David, Giovanni Lo Celso he's had a lot of injury problems whilst at Spurs. 25 next month, 40 Premier League appearances, 1 goal, and only 3 assists in those 40 Premier League appearances. 27 shots, 8 on target. Giovanni Lo Celso, keep or sell?
Look, he's been here a lot less, and it's nearly matching up to Harry Winks' stats. So, look, I would keep him, to be honest with you. Look, Winks and Sissoko have to go, and like you said, we need squad players. I do think there's a very good player in there. Look, this is a player that Messi has waxed lyricals about with Argentina before. Absolutely waxed lyricals. There is a player in there. And, I think it's just he's been unlucky because before he came to Tottenham, I think he's only ever missed 2 matches through injury. You know what I mean? So I do think he's just been unlucky, and I would keep him around. I definitely would.
Yeah. Anthony, let's come on to the defence. Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld and Ben Davies. Yeah. Now, we've argued, both you and I as well, about who is the best defender at Spurs. We agreed that it is Toby Alderweireld. I said there that Ben Davies has had no errors leading to goals. Ricky always says that he's a 6 out of 10 and that's all he is. But, is that good enough or not? And then Davinson Sanchez, only keeping 1 clean sheet in every 4 games that he plays in the Premier League.
Poor return, mate. Yeah, Sanchez... he won't get rid of Davis. Sanchez has got to go, I think. I really do. Yeah, I am. I'm Lappers, you're right, bruv. You're right, geezer.
I put it on screen.
I'm shattered, mate. What else? What was you saying? I've lost my train of thought, Chris.
We can't keep Ben Davies. I really don't think he's good enough. We can't keep him.
Davies, but he ain't going anywhere. So because Mourinho likes him, because a lot of Spurs fan likes him because he runs around a lot. That's what we've come to. Do you know what I mean?
So I'll have to speak to Jose on that. He's definitely getting that one wrong.
Yeah. Simon Cohen, I'm the best defender of 63. That's quite funny. Yeah, Sanchez, you've got to go. Alderweireld, I'll keep all day long. I want to see Tanganga get a good run out now. I want to see him. I want to see Woden. I want to see, there's 8 games left. What worse can we do? Do you know what I'm saying? So might as well just go all out there and play some good football and have a settled back 4 for the rest of the season. But Dyer and Sanchez together does not work for me, as we all see.
David, what are your thoughts on those 3 defenders we've mentioned? Just thinking about Anthony looking so tired.
Look, Toby, I definitely think we need to keep. He is getting older. I do think we do need to get into centre backs this summer. To be honest with you, I think if we are going to compete next season in anything, I do think 2 centre backs is going to be crucial because, if we are going to be in Europe, whether it be Champions League or Europa League, Toby can't get out for all of them games. Look, Roden needs a real shining light, but for me, we need 2 centre backs. I want Dyer gone. I call him moon boots because every time he kicks the ball, it goes straight into orbit. I want Sanchez. He's one. Look, I would definitely take money for him if it came in. For me, his positioning when the ball's in the air, he doesn't know where it is. You've seen that against Villa there once or twice as well. So I would like him sold. But if I'm being realistic, I'd rather sell Dyer ahead of Sanchez. And Ben Davies, I just want gone. I don't think he's good enough. I don't understand why Jose likes him. That's after annoying me to find that out. No, look, I definitely want Davies gone and Dyer gone anyway, out of them defenders, 100%.
What is it you don't like about Ben Davies, David?
Oh, look, he's not good enough going forward. He's been at the club, I think, 6-7 years now, if not a bit longer. Look, defensively, I know you say he didn't make a mistake leading to a goal, but I want to question that, because the one against Wolves, their equaliser, that was his man. It was his fault.
This is official Premier League stats. This is not me, by the way.
Yeah. No, look, for me, the one against Wolves was his fault. And I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough on the ball. I don't think he has the traits of a modern-day fullback, which is what we need. Anytime he dipped in for Danny Rose, we weren't the same down the left-hand side. When he dips in for Reguilon, we're still not the same down the left-hand side. And look, defensively, he's just too easy. Like, anytime he plays, he's had a couple of good games this season, but they just target him. They target him because they know he's the weak link. They go down his side every time. He's always 15 yards away from his man. Against West Brom, they just gave Snodgrass the ball. Just ping that in. Ben Davies is going to be nowhere near you. He's not fast enough, and I don't think he's good enough.
Last question for you both. Same as what I asked Lee. Antony, Jose Mourinho, in or out?
Now, you've got to give him to the end of the season. You can't, not worth bringing, obviously, someone in now. We've got the cup final to come. That's one game. That's a one-off game. It's 50-50, as we all know. Give him a transfer window. Let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean? It can't get any worse. It can't get any better. So as long as we keep the spine of the team, like we were talking about, Sons and Kanes and Dombele, Højbjerg, Laurice, if he stays, and Alderweireld, and work around that, then we got the makings of a good summer. Do you know what I'm saying?
Antony, I'm very much on the fence about Jose Mourinho, and I always have been, to be honest. But when I talk to you a lot, and you talk about the style of football, when I spoke to you about why you support Spurs and we would like to watch entertaining football, what have you made of Jose's time as Spurs boss with playing this style of football that he does? Does it entertain you, or does it make you feel angry and sad?
It's a bit of both. Listen, I liked Poch. I thought what he did for us was great. As we all know, where we got us Champions Leagues consistently, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. But that's gone. That's gone now. We got to forget about that. No one talks about the time where we couldn't win a game for 11 months away from home, the last sort of year of Poch. Now, if that was Mourinho and we were losing, we lost 3 games in a row away, we'd all be sitting on your show, Chris, going, he's got to go, he's got to go. But Poch, for some reason, seemed to get away with it. I'm not saying people like Poch, well, people do like Poch more than Mourinho. Of course they do, because there's a lot of divide. And that's one thing I'm not liking at the moment is the division in fans of Jose and the Jose in mob and the Jose out mob on the Poch, the Poch in mob, the Poch out mob. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And listen, I'm just a 39-year-old Spurs supporter that's loved my club for many years. I don't like the division in fans. I really, really don't. And I just want to see happiness again. Do you know what I mean? And for now, it's the business end of the season. To me, it's all about results now. I want to get. There's a chance of getting that top 4. I want to see results. I don't care how we play at this present time. I just want to get the wins under our belt.
This so-called rebuild, though, Antony, it does look like it's a huge task, doesn't it?
You're going to get in someone else. Yeah. All right, Nagelsmann, for example, doesn't know the Premier League. It's going to take him a year to work out. The players we've spoken about that we think should go will get another chance. Then that's another year. Then it's another rebuild, and then we give him another chance. Then he gets another budget, and it's just cycle, repeat. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very difficult.
David, perhaps you take this question from Nigel. Nigel, thank you very much for this. Kane and Son being at Spurs next season depends on how we end this season. Well, of course, I completely agree, because we've spoken many times on this show, David, and I know we've spoken about it a lot. If we win the League Cup and we finish in top 4, if Harry Kane and Heung-min Son win a cup at Spurs finally, do they say, well, okay, job complete, we've won a trophy, we can leave now? Or do they think, oh, we've won a League Cup, we can now challenge for the Premier League, we can now challenge for this, that, and the other, and then feel more confidence going forward?
No, I think it's the latter there, Chris. For me, look, I think if we win a trophy, you know, they see progress, they see a summer transfer window ahead, they look at Mourinho, and hopefully, you know, they can see more trophies coming next season with just a few things tweaked and ironed out. But ultimately, I do think it kind of does stay on Mourinho as well. I do think if anyone can talk Son and Kane into give him one more year at Tottenham, I do think it's Mourinho. Look, a lot of people are calling for likes of Nagelsmann and Rodgers, and you know, people that have this lovely style of play and they play the same way regardless. That's all well and good, but when you don't have the players to play that way, what can you do? Look, there's been some really bad games this year, but there's also been some games where we played teams completely off the park and play good football. I think it's just to do with the consistency of these players over time. You know, it was the same under Pochettino. And we have to remember, Mourinho has a lot worse squad to work with than what Pochettino had. You know, in terms of, like, you even talking about the fullbacks, 2 centre midfielders that we had in his prime team, his 2 centre-backs. You know what I mean? It was all settled. You knew what you were going to get in, week out. Players that you can rely on. We don't have that in the squad right now. When people talk about bringing in Nagelsmann and Rodgers and stuff like that, now, when Pochettino didn't change his system, if you take the results from the November when the league form turned to the Champions League's final season to the November when he got sacked, if that was all one season, we would have been sacked. So bringing in these managers who don't change their system, there's no guarantee that it would work. And I'd argue the fact that Mourinho is not afraid to change it up and has changed it up, has he probably got better out of this squad than what, you know, than what we could if we had a manager that played that stuck to the same system? For me, look, I want to give Jose one more year. That's where I'm at. I want to give him one more year, not even one more year. I want to give him the window, and I want to give him the start of next season and see if things can change. I genuinely look. No matter what manager comes in, this money needs problem thrown at. This problem needs money thrown at, and it needs to be fixed. And there's no way it's sorting our money.
As I've said before, I'm fed up of Spurs being the bridesmaid all the time. Playing the best football when Leicester won the league, the best this, the best that, coming third in a 2-horse race and us getting laughed at. I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of being laughed at, mate. This club, man. I hate us being a banter club. I hate it, and it needs to stop. Okay, we need to start winning things now. And some of the players as well, as I said on your show the other week, need to take a hard on look at themselves as well, because that Dynamo Zagreb, the Arsenal game, they were missing. Mourinho set out a team, and if they can't get up for a North London derby or to go into the latter stages of the Europa League, that ain't Mourinho's fault, really. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, on that point, Anthony, not Nigel's point on this same question on screen, saying Jose has to decide the people that want to play for Spurs to succeed for the rest of the season. Look at the Aston Villa squad, for example, and we can make Champions League. You know, in these last 9 Premier League games, and of course the Cup final, you know, I suppose Jose has to treat all of these 10 games as Cup finals and get us over that line, because surely that's what he was brought in for, to deliver, you know, the top 4 place and the trophy. So surely that is the main aim, top 4 and the trophy this year.
That'll be our best season for how long?
A long time.
30 years, 25, 30 years? Come on, man. And we've got people still going on about us getting to the Champions League final. Well, what happened then?
Yeah,
we didn't turn up. So them same players still didn't turn up the other week against Zagreb. So whose fault is it? Do you see what I'm saying? They're not winners. Some of them players are not born winners, and they need to.
You can imagine it, Anthony, can't you? You can imagine it at the end of the season, Jose gets top 4, wins a trophy, and then looks at all the Spurs fans and say, what was the problem? You know, what's your problem? I've delivered the trophy. I've got top 4.
No one will like that. Some Spurs fans probably won't like that because they've been, you know, they've been proven wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say we're going to win the League Cup. I just want us to go out there and at least go out and try and not bottle it like we've done in every final we've ever been in since not 2008, or semi-final since 2008.
But that's exactly my point, though, Anthony. Jose has been brought in to get Tottenham over that line. So you know, this should be his moment. These last few months of the season, really are Jose Mourinho's moments, aren't they?
That's what he gets paid for. That's what he's won 26 trophies. Spurs have won 22 or 23 in 155 years we've been around.
Yeah.
What man has won more trophies than our club put together?
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying that I worship him. I respect him. And if he's my manager of our club, I will support him. Yeah. I'm not deluded. We know it's not going to be a long-term managerial placement. So let's get behind him. Okay. Now, if he, as I said, if he wins us the League Cup, we get in the top Champions League. What can anyone say then? Are they going to be moaning that we lost 1-0 to Burnley? That in the December.
Yeah.
You can never ever please everyone. I get that, but let's start getting behind the team, man, because it filters. I'm telling you. Do you know what I mean? It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to end tonight's show on a positive. Let's get behind the team. Let's get behind Jose Mourinho, and let's hope that Jose and Harry Kane and co can lift that trophy on the 25th of April, and Tottenham can get in the top 4. David, thank you very much indeed for your input tonight. Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks very much for having me. And I echo the words of Anthony. Look, whether you're in or out on Jose, I don't care. Let's sing these boys in to the end of the season. These last 9 games, everyone get behind the team and everyone just support these boys. Look, we all know they look at social media. We all know they look at everything going on around at the club. It does affect them. So let's just all come together for 9 games and let's just agree on something for 9 games and sing these boys home. Come on, Spurs. Let's do this. Man. That's it. Anthony, thank you very much for your input. Really enjoyed talking to you tonight. Lovely, boys, as always. Thank you. David and Anthony, thank you very much. Thank you to all of the viewers' questions and your input. It's very much appreciated. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Come on.